Guten Tag, students. Today we're going to talk about applications of percents. Basically, what are some common ideas or formulas where we use percent? And the first one we'll talk about is when we're trying to find interest, okay? And it's a pretty straightforward formula. Interest equals principal times rate times time. Now, to go through the specifics, I is the interest, the money created in dollars, and P is the principal. It's the starting amount of money. Rate is the interest rate per year, and it's always going to be as a decimal, written as a decimal, extremely important. And annual means annually or per year, okay? And T is the time, and the money is invested, borrowed in years. Very important as well. It's expressed in years. So those are just the little parts. And remember, anytime you have three variables written next to each other, like this case, PRT, what's really happening? Well, they're being multiplied, okay? They don't write it like that, but they're really being multiplied. So let's take a look at a problem. Now, in this case, they want us to figure out what is the interest. They tell us the principal, starting amount of $100. The rate is 5%, and you've noticed they've changed this into a decimal, perfect, and then time in years, okay, T equals 2. So really you're just plugging in numbers, doing the multiplication. 10 times 0.05, do you know what that is? That is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. There we go. So the one important thing I want you to also know is if they give you your time, let's say they told your time is in 6 months. Remember, we need time in years. So if we needed to convert this, we need to think about how would we do that? Well, we had always put the number of months divided by 12, because 12 months in a year. So if we needed to get this down to a decimal, well, 1 over 2 as a decimal equals 0.5 years, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, let's take a look at example 2, time calculation. So in this case, how long does Keith need to invest $4,000 at 3.33% interest rate to earn $800 in interest money? Now, I've highlighted this because the idea of having a rate, remember, we're always going to write the rate as a decimal. That's the key. So the second thing is they want to know time. How much time? And what we're going to have to do first is solve for T. And to do that, right, what are we going to have to do? We're going to have to divide by P times R on both sides. P times R. Now this goes to 1, and we are left with interest, or I, divided by P times R. And that's exactly what they do here, okay? Time equals I divided by P times R. They just wrote it differently. So we plug in our numbers. We know the interest, the amount of interest money is $800, so they put it in here. They know the principal was $4,000, they put it in, and they've changed this percentage to a decimal. How did they do that? They moved the decimal 2 places to the left, put a new decimal point, and added 2 zeros. So that's really all you have to do. You just have to be very, very careful to have a decimal number. And then, of course, you have to do the math, okay? You always do, because of PEMDAS, you would always do this first, 4,000 times this decimal number, and then 8,000 divided by that answer. And that gives you 6 years, approximately. All right, moving on. Now we're going to talk about something called commission. It's basically the amount of money you receive as a percent of the total. If someone is in sales, that's their job. Well, when they sell something, they get a percentage of the total money they've sold. All right, a lot of people have jobs like that. And we'll take a look at this example. Karma Pena works in an appliance store. She is paid a 5% commission rate on all appliances that she sells. What is her commission on the sale of a television set that costs $369? So the formula for commission, very, very straightforward formula. It's just going to be the commission rate times total sales. But we will always change the rate given as a percent into a decimal. So 5% changes to 0.05. Multiply that by the total sales, and there we go. That gives you your commission. But please make sure to convert to a decimal from a percent. And that's it. The next thing we're going to look at is sales tax. It's the amount of money you pay as a percent of the total. So very, very, very similar to what? To commission, just a different style of money, okay? And in this case, we'll take a look at the example. What is the total sales tax? Well, we're going to do that by multiplying the item cost times the sales tax rate. And remember, the rate will always be as a decimal number. So the item cost is $60. There we go. That's our connection. And the sales tax rate is 7.5%, but we will always write it as a decimal. So really, we are just multiplying 60 times that 0.075, and there is our total sales tax. Now, what if someone told you, I don't want the total sales tax, I want just the actual total cost? Well, to do that, we would need the original cost plus the tax amount. So let's just take a look at a problem like that. Here, item cost is $25, sales tax is 2.9%. We found it as our decimal, and we multiply them, and we get $0.725. Now, I mean, is that an actual dollar amount that we talk about? Well, not really, but following these rules, okay, it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to round up. We never have $0.725. So we're going to round that up to what? 73 cents. Okay, 0.73. And to find, though, the total cost, we take the original cost of $25, and we add it to, let's just say, 73 cents. So we get $25.73. That's all there is to it. All right, good luck.